Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have my September book haul. The first book that I acquired was The Mudfog Papers by Charles Dickens. I only discovered that this book existed this month. I have often said that I am a fan of Charles Dickens, but I've only read a few of his work. This month I was watching a video by Katie over at Books and Things, and she reads a lot of classics. And the amount of classics that she reads was making me feel a bit ashamed that I hadn't read more classics, because I can't seem to be getting into any modern fiction at the moment. I ended up going onto the Alma Classics website because I'm rather fond of their editions of books, and I discovered that there are more Charles Dickens works that I've never discovered before, short stories and novellas that I never even knew about. This book is apparently similar to the Pickwick Papers, but this time it is satirical of scientific writing and was written at the same time as Oliver Twist. And I'm hoping to try and read it this month because October is also Victober. It's something I want to read more, classic literature. The Victorian period is the one that I seem to be most interested in at the moment, and so we have this one. This book that I have no idea what it's about. I'm just hoping that it's going to be good. Next, another Dickens, which is George Silverman's Explanation, and this edition includes holiday romance and a detective story called Hunted Down. And this seems to be about an orphan who's getting hoodwinked, and we'll see whether we like it. I'm kind of fond of the fact that these books are quite short, because Charles Dickens was known for huge tomes, and Nicholas Nickleby took me 2 years to read, and the others that I've read I've only got through because of audiobooks. Next, we have sketches, I've got to read this off the cover, sketches of young ladies, young gentlemen and young couples, also by Charles Dickens, and also something I have no idea what it's about. These 3 books I didn't know existed, and then I found out that the Alma Classics were bringing them out and you could buy them as a box set, which is what I did. Another big discovery this month was the fact that Wilkie Collins isn't a woman. The name Wilkie, I've known about his books for a decade now, if not longer, and never read them. And I just saw these editions, they were quite cheap, so I bought them because I thought they looked quite nice as well. And it was at this point that I discovered, because of basically the biography that says his novel. So this is The Woman in White. I also got The Moonstone. I think that these 2 books are perhaps the ones that people talk about the most, and they're not written by a woman. So I can read them and I can enjoy them, but I can't use them to fulfil the Victober challenge of reading a female author of the period. So that's a shame. This book seems to be about a diamond, and this book is going to have some mystery and intrigue, so hopefully we enjoy them when we eventually get to them. I know that a few people actually do like these, and they might make for some good winter reading. I borrowed this book from the library, and then a copy came into the charity shop, and it looks like it's never been read, and that's The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I've never tried to read anything by Emma Donoghue before, but because people have been reading this on YouTube and BookTube, I thought that I might give it a go, and I also thought the book looked quite nice. Basically, young English nurse travelling to Ireland to see whether this girl isn't actually eating anything. Like, she says she's not eaten anything for a while. Basically, if she hasn't eaten for a while, I'm going to read this for pointers, because I quite, the whole no sugar thing that I was on, this whole keeping sugar out of my diet kick, was really good until this week, because I baked 4 cakes on Wednesday for me launch, and there's not a single cake left in my house, and it's Sunday. I mean, I didn't eat all of them, but I've had 2 pieces of St. Clement's cake, 2 pieces of chocolate cake, and a piece of carrot cake. And I didn't even get to try the vanilla sponge. So this next book I bought because Joanna Cannon recommended it on Twitter. It's the reason I bought The Upstairs Room that I'm currently reading, and I'm not gonna lie, I've seen it on a few websites of books to look out for this year and avoided them because the idea of the plot is enough to terrify me a little bit. But I thought I'll go with what my English teacher said to me in Year 9 and said that you should read stuff that challenges you. So I bought My Absolute Darling by Gabriel Talon. This book follows a girl called Turtle, who it says knows how to use every gun in her house, and that making a friend could be the bravest thing she does. And people are calling it dark. These people on the back are calling it terrifying but fantastic. Some people are calling it brutal, and I've seen it get 5-star reviews, and I know that loads of people are enjoying it at the moment, but just look at that cover. The American cover is just like loads of different colours and stuff thrown at it, but this one right here, has this scary, brooding figure on the cover. And because I can't actually fit any more books' spines out on my shelf, this one is facing me every night. Every night. Can you imagine this picture looking down on you when you're trying to sleep? I'm gonna read it. I feel like I'm either going to read it this month or in November, because I want to read it before the end of the year. I also thought about reading it this month because of Halloween and, you know, completely scaring myself and jumping on that bandwagon as well, even though we've never really celebrated Halloween in this house. I once went out as Lucius Malfoy wearing a bin bag, and that was the extent of that. That was back when the second film came out, so I don't know when that was. We'll see if I absolutely want to terrify myself. And finally, we have The Library of Souls by Richard Denny. Richard Denny is a booktuber. He reviews a lot of middle grade fiction and horror fiction. He also does a few DVD reviews over on his channel. I've been following his channel for a few years now, and I knew that he wrote fiction before, but I haven't read that. But when he announced this book on Twitter, I was very excited for it, because Richard reviews a lot of middle grade horror, he's now written a middle grade horror. I felt like we were getting an author who knew what he was writing about. So, this book follows the character of Simon Santiago, who is able to see ghosts and communicate with ghosts. And his uncle Monty is exploiting this and has him travelling around the country using his gifts to, I believe, help the other ghosts move on. In this book, they've been invited to a library where there have been talks of a lot of supernatural goings-on for quite a while now. I've read it already, and it reminded me of the Goosebumps books that I read when I was younger, and I think that if you are looking for a scary piece of fiction for your child this Halloween, or if they just like being scared, this would be a good book for them. This next portion is going to be recorded after I realised that I'd forgotten to add 2 books to this video. So next we have Not Exactly Life by Margaret Holbrook. Margaret is a good friend of mine. She helped me with our Doris, and we've done a few events together. This is her latest collection of poetry, and it explores the lives of women who are close to Margaret and celebrated women throughout history, such as Elizabeth I, Elizabeth Gaskell, Emmeline Pankhurst, and Dolly Shepherd. And then the next book that I forgot was I Am by Maggie O'Farrell. I wasn't originally going to purchase this book. I read This Must Be the Place by Maggie O'Farrell earlier this year, and I wasn't blown away by it. I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really care for it, and I've not tried any of her other books, but I mean to. But I think Dave over at Wild Reads was talking about this book. I've seen it recommended on Twitter enough times, and I just thought, let's have a go. It's Maggie O'Farrell's memoir about 17 brushes she's had with death, and I've seen that quite a few people have been enjoying the book. I don't know whether enjoying is the correct word here, but it has definitely been well received. And then I discovered that non-fiction November exists. I like jumping on bandwagons, we know this about me, and I haven't read much non-fiction this year, so I thought that I could pair this up with some of the other books that I have got and see what I think. And thems are definitely the books. If you have read any of these books and wish to discuss them, please feel free to do so down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.